Previously, Banza was summoned as a hero candidate but had no skill or powers, but the blondie summoned besides him had max level stats, so the king neglected Banza and due to that gate to send him back home got closed, so to hide their mistake, the king sent Banza to the northern forest so that he could die, but luckily, Banza just levels up to the second level and his stats got over to the infinite level. So he started to do adventuring jobs to earn money. He took a job of escorting a girl to Northern Forest. Banza had teleportation spell. But knights thought Banza was lying because teleportation spell is sort of legendary spell and he wants to kidnap the little girl, so Banza proved his words by teleporting all of them to the location in the north, but that little girl turned out to be a Fenrir wolf from the demon army, so Banza sent back all those female knights because that Fenrir wolf was emitting malice in the area, which was poisons to humans. But it had no effect on Banza. Banza calls out all of his spell, and their Fenris attacks him. Banza used a leap spell to avoid her, and the second time he blocked her attack with earth magic. Fenris couldn't even come near Banza, and at the end he used a gravity spell to stop her. Banza wanted to stop her without harming her, and System suggested him a subjugation spell that could manipulate the target and its thoughts. Banza didn't like it, and their Fenris was trying to break free. System kept nullifying her spell and kept suggesting to Banza to use subjugation, but if he did, the girl would practically become his slave. So Banza didn't know what he should do, but luckily, Fenri gave up and surrendered as she exhausted her magic. She was prepared for her death, but Banza took off his spell. He thinks demons and humans aren't any different, so he doesn't want to kill her. Fenris gave up and turned back, but she had no clothes, so Banza gave her the cloak and asked her not to fight humans and return back home. For that he pulls out some clothes from inventory, but Fenris passed out. She was just exhausted, so Banza sets up a camp and was thinking how others saw him. When he mentioned teleportation spell, their Fenris woke up and saw Banza outside. So she came out with the clothes Banza gave her, and there she vowed to Banza that she won't attack humans without any reason, and thus she accepted Banza as her master and wanted to repay him with her life. She was happy to be even used as a slave, as long as she gets to stay by his side. Banza doesn't want to own people, so Fenris gives a killer puppy dog eyes to torture the guy, but Banza didn't get sold out. So Fenris had no reason to live anymore, and that finally convinced Banza to let her follow him. He told Fenris about how he was brought to this world as hero candidate and was thrown out because he lacked skills. He even showed his true appearance because he can't use his real face because the king excommunicated him. He had no place to stay or go, so he told Fenris to leave him, but Fenris doesn't care. Her Lupin's race lives to serve the master they see fit, so no matter what, she vowed to live solely for Banza. With such cute words Banza couldn't refuse, and in the royal castle, that max-out hero came back with a shameless defeat in his first fight and lost the majority of his troops. The king asked him what happened, and that blondie blames it on knights that they don't have discipline, and right when monsters showed up, soldiers panicked and broke off their formation. But he saved as many knights as he could, so he told king to be grateful to him. Useless Peace blamed it on knights, but in reality he was at the very back in the fight, and when monsters showed up, he was the first one to run out and now blamed it on knights. Way to be a hero. Blonde had stats full maxed out, but the only joke happened to him was that he didn't learn any of his skill. There his personal servant comes out and Blondie took her out to enjoy his time with all the money the king had given him. Then setting that aside, Banza and Fenris came to town and wants to get a job and a house. There a shopkeeper calls Fenris, "Madam," as he thought Banza and Fenris were married. They do look like that, and Fenris was totally on board because her tribe's women wants nothing more than a strong husband, and even if it was just pretending Fenris was still over the clouds. Then they got to the Adventurers Guild and Banza taught her about the badges of adventurer that match hers. Fenris felt nice and shy because in her tribe, couple eats a bone from the prey they hunted together to get married. So matching tags reminds her of that. Then for the name, Fenris was about to go with her original, but Banza told receptionist that her name was Riss. She forgot Banza wanted her not to reveal her name, and if she stays in this form no one will recognize her. But there was an urgent quest announced to kill psycho bears in the north that even Hero failed to kill. Banza thought to skip it because even Hero can't defeat them, but Fenris asked to let her handle them. If she beats them means that Banza is more powerful than the bears, but when they arrived at site, there they heard a cry of someone and saw the knights were surrounded by those bears, so Banza gave out a thunder spell to cook those bears, and Fenris drops in as well. This batch of knights were saved by Banza again, and he introduced Fenris as his traveling companion to them, so Fenris got pissed, and their bear didn't dare to lay a hand on her, so it surrendered and Fenris got a nice idea to keep it as a pet. Others were scared because the terrifying bear was tamed by this too, so they went over to an inn and got familiar with each other. There they asked Banza to train them because apparently the hero was throwing a tantrum and refused to fight until he gets strong knights. So King ordered the knights to become stronger to join hero, and for that Balarusa and her knight friend wants to get stronger. Banza himself doesn't know because he depends on system, and their Fenris didn't like the idea of having women's around, so Banza told them he wants to live comfortably with his wife to avoid them. But Fenris changed the tune hearing that and said it's fine that Banza trains them, well no harm in that. So Banza agreed, and away from there. Demon General Eulimenes reports to the Demon King that Fonray's force near Delacisa Forest have been wiped out by a random person, which piqued the Demon Lord's interest, so he ordered to bring him the person no matter how, and that's where the episode 2 ends. But in case you missed episode 1, I have made a playlist where you could watch it, playlist link in description. So please watch the previous episodes so that you can understand the story, and if you are enjoying the anime, then like and subscribe the channel.